Fallout New Vegas' Easy Pete is one of the most in-depth and interesting characters in any video game that I've ever played. Let me break it down for you. Basically, around Good Springs, Easy Pete was known as a harmless old prospector, often found outside of the saloon, sharing tips about dynamite with anyone who would listen to him. Most people kind of dismissed him as a relic of an old era, a rather simple man who was content just watching the world go by. What they didn't know was that beneath his unassuming exterior laid a sharp mind and a hidden agenda. Believe it or not, Pete was actually a sleeper agent for Caesar's Legion. He was strategically placed in the Mojave to gather intel and conduct espionage. He was a spy, mostly dealing with the NCR. The facade the Legion told him to put on was to be a simple miner. Anyway, one night, while Easy Pete was smoking his pipe outside, he heard a loud bang. Word around town soon after was that some guy in a blazer with the design of a checkers board took a gun to some poor bloke's head just a little walks out away. When Pete heard that the guy survived and that he was over just at Doc Mitchell's place, he had then invested full attention into the situation. The whole Benny shooting the courier in the head incident also caught the attention of the NCR and the Legion, who were both eager to recruit this newcomer. Easy saw the courier's potential and recognized that the courier could tip the balance of power in the Mojave. Pete always kept a close eye on the courier throughout their travels, watching and waiting for the perfect moment to spring his trap. The battle for Hoover Dam had arrived. The Legion, brute as always, advanced forward with punishing fervor. Except, all the Centurions, I really hope I'm saying that right, and Legionnaires were just bumping into each other, shooting themselves through friendly fire and tripping over each other. It was an all-around mess of a performance, which doesn't make any sense given their intense dedication to training and combat. As the courier was caught in the crossfire, fighting for their chosen side, Pete was nearby, watching, smiling, almost as if he had something to do with the Legion's embarrassing performance. Almost like he somehow drugged them with Med-X or something, knowing the Legion forbids narcotics and that their tolerance for drugs must be crazy low. Here's where the story takes its most unbelievable turn. Easy Pete quietly slipped away from the onslaught against the Legion and had actually made his way to the Lucky 38 casino. When he reached the penthouse on the strip, the doors opened to reveal the iconic Mr. House, the enigmatic man who ruled New Vegas with an iron fist from within his cryo chamber. "Ah, Pete, my boy, I see you've made it through the chaos. How was the battle progressing?" Easy then responded, keeping his tone casual. "Better than you can imagine. The Legion's gotten themselves into a real pickle. All that training and they still can't figure out how to march in a straight line." House raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "That's unexpected. Tell me more." As the conversation carried on, Pete carefully positioned himself closer to House's control console. Easy did not care about the battle, the Legion, the NCR. He had only cared about this very moment. He had been preparing for this, waiting for the right opportunity to strike. "So, you've got a good view of the fight from up there," Pete continued, his voice dripping with feigned admiration. "But tell me, what happens when the dust settles? What's your plan for a world free of NCR and Legion interference?" House chuckled, clearly entertained by Pete's banter. "I have a vision for New Vegas, one where I reign supreme, with my Securitron army at my disposal. I will bring order to the chaos." Just as House was about to share his master plan, Easy Pete struck. He moved with shocking speed, running over to the control panel and disabling House's cryo chamber, the lights flickering as alarms blared throughout the penthouse. "Now, let's see how you handle being on the other side of the equation, old man," Pete said with a triumphant grin across his face. "What are you doing?" House exclaimed, his vitality crumble within just moments of his release. "You can't just..." Easy Pete's diabolical plan had now come to fruition. He had fully overridden House's systems, rendering him a perishing vegetable. With the Securitron army now at Easy's command, Pete was secured to become the true power of New Vegas. "You always underestimated me, House. While you sat in your ivory tower, I was out there making moves, watching the world burn." With a flick of a switch, Easy Pete initiated a lockdown, sealing the Lucky 38 and trapping House inside. "You're just another piece on the board now, an even older relic of the past than myself. Anyway, New Vegas is mine now. You'll just become a footnote in its history. Upon Easy Pete's new throne, he watched the remainder of the battle for Hoover Dam unfold. He felt a mix of satisfaction and exhilaration. He had played both sides, emerging not as a mere prospector, but as the master of a new regime. Let the world know that Easy Pete is no longer just an old man in Good Springs. He's the one who reshaped the Mojave. The once unassuming Easy Pete, no longer a puppet of the Legion or a pawn in Mr. House's game. He had become the true architect of New Vegas's future, ready to write a new chapter in its tumultuous history.